Good morning, and thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are here with you, and we are so glad that you are choosing to tune in to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. We're so glad that you have taken the time to choose our program. Today we are going to be talking about take time. I think that it is appropriate as we think about Thursday, in giving us something to really chime into and think about. Now, when you think about time, our Vibe Talk question is, what do you want to take more time to do? What do you want to take more time to do? Well, that's an individual question, and we hope that you all will take the time to answer that. We'd like to remind you that Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast is all about interaction, that you get to express your feelings and your emotions. Our Vibe Talk question is, what would you like to take more time to do? Or what do you need to take more time to do? We'd love to hear from you all to find out, what is it that makes you thankful? What are you thankful for? I'm thankful for friends. Friends who are there for you when you need them and when you don't. I can really appreciate the thought, to have a friend, you must be a friend. To have a friend, you must be a friend. I can really appreciate that. We're so thankful for you all being here. Yeah, I want to just tell you, you just want to be able to express to you our gratefulness and our graciousness of your being here. Yes. So I'm trying to get you on here, and it's not allowing me to.
Good morning.
Oh, I hear you. Good morning. I don't know what I'm ever doing. You already know that. So we're taking time. Trish, what are you thankful for, and what would you like to take the time to do more of?
I'm thankful for, first of all, I'm thankful for how hard I work in school. I'm thankful for that because it comes out in a great benefit for me and how the outcome turns out. And the news that I have is I made an 86 on my music project that I talked about on here.
We love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we're going to give you the opportunity to talk about that. You can talk about it now, or you can talk about it during your segment. Whatever works.
I'll talk about it during my segment.
Okay. So everyone heard that. Trish is in college, and Trish has been with us. How long have you been with Vibe Talk, Trish?
I think 2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. She went from a client to a co-host. I saw potential in her, and I think that is wonderful. Congratulations. Trisha's the one for me, the inspiration for me, willing, determined, and very creative. I don't think of myself as so much creative. I'm still working on that part, but she has that. Such a beautiful mind and so wise for her age. And we're so grateful to have her as a big part of our Facing the Lion podcast. What would you like to take more time to do, Trish?
I'd like to take more time in motivating myself.
Love that. Our call in our 661-503-8993, or you can call us directly from our Facebook. We want to hear from you, even if you're not on live with us. When you get to hear our podcast, would you do us a favor? What are you thankful for? Answer that question. And what would you like to spend more time doing? Our podcast is inspired by this inspirational quote. Take time. Take a moment to see the good, to remember the smiles, to remember the moments, to remember the little things, to be thankful, to be grateful, to take time to see the wonderful in this world. The more you see the good, the more you will inspire others. Everyone hear that? The more that you see good, the more you will inspire others. Ladies and gentlemen, we are encouraging you as our listeners to take more time. You know, they say time is of the essence. And in layman terms, time being of the essence is that time is important. Time is important. I've been really having a discussion with both of my young adult children about taking time, family time, never being too busy to just take time. Because time being important, many of us have too much time and not enough time because we spend time being too busy all the time. So in having this conversation with my young adult children, I reminded them that time is precious. We can be here today and gone tomorrow. We don't expect time to slip away as it does. We always say that we have 24 hours in time, but oh so quickly how time passes. And over time, we have had to make changes, transitions. We have made over time decisions. We have been long over time for making best decisions. And that is if that applies to you. Now, why are we talking about taking time today? Because everyone is so busy. I'm going to speak out to the moms first because moms are crucial. Oh, dads, we have not forgotten about you. But we're going to start with the moms. How many of you mothers out there feel like you just don't have enough time? I'm going to run it down to you. You get up in the morning. You have to get the kids off to school. You have to make sure that your husband, who much of the time is the one that is going to help sons and daughters. See, the fathers play a very good role. They're going to help the family. There's still families like that, believe it or not, in this declining old world. There's still family who much of the time have value. So you mothers get up, you start to think about what you have to do all the time. Get up, get the kids ready, drop them off, spend time, clean the house time, and then you're so busy that time has slipped away. For all you mothers out there who feel like there isn't enough time, we're going to ask you to think about something today. Start taking time. See, don't be clock watchers or watching time. When you make the time, instead of watching time, you're going to see the things that you value. Start making the time. How many of you mothers, especially you newborn, that have newborn, did you ever feel like you didn't have enough time just to take the shower? Or enough time just to breathe 2 minutes? As some of us mothers, we know what that's like to have to go to the restroom and your kids sit outside the bathroom door because they want your time. Now, for you mothers and you dads who have stepped in the mom's place, you understand that. You just feel like, I don't have enough time. Today, we are asking you to take the time. You see, because the moments that you take are very fragile. Very fragile. I have been watching growth in my family, my grandson, listening to his vocabulary over time. There has been growth. Over time, he has grown taller. Over time, he has changed. You see what time does? And we're along for the journey, but I ask that you look back to the last time that you really valued. Am I making sense to anyone listening to this program? Because time is of value. What are we doing with our time? I say to you, young folk, older ones too. Some of us are time wasters. And we take a lot of time without even thinking about the wasted time that we have committed to. So subconsciously, we have some who have committed to wasting time. And this is not to say that we're pointing fingers. If the Cinderella shoe fits, let's wear it. That means let's own it. Because time is so important. Don't you just wish that you could put time in a bottle? There is a message in the music about that. It's an old 70s song. Many people make time capsules. Time capsules serve as memories. As the decades pass by, you can go back or go to forward from 10 years ago, and my, how time has flown by. What if we were time watchers? We watched all the time how much time has passed by. Would that be exciting for you? Or would it be something that is boring because time passes? There are 24 hours in a day. I'm going to ask you today, how are you spending your time? If today was your last time living, how would you spend your 24 hours? If you knew consciously that today was your last time living. Makes you think, right? You know, I find it interesting that when people are incarcerated in the prison world and they're awaiting their sentence for death row, you know, that time is a long time because it just doesn't happen right then and there once they're sentenced that. And that's simply a sentence handed down by man to pay back the consequence that man thinks is fit. You know where I'm going with this, right? Or even if you don't, let's move right into it. You see, Jehovah God has a time designated for you and I. How do we see ourselves in relation to the time we're spending? Because you see, that's a divine time set. I'm going to get on that today because I really think it's important. We spend a lot of time, we wake up and go to bed. We wake up, go to bed. We do this consciously. Morning time, afternoon time, bedtime, and then we start the whole thing over. What are you guys doing? We've committed to helping other people. We're using our time here at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast to reach up, reach in, and reach out. Time valuable. Time worthy. What is time worthy to you? Our social medias, and I'm going to get into that, they are beneficial because we don't want to think that everything is all bad. How we spend our time. We have things on this social media that helps us to time ourselves as to how much time we're going to be spending in time. If you get that. You find yourself having to, in time, shut down the time that you're spending in time on your social medias. And please remember that we are, at this time, not doctors. In no way are we suggesting medically. We're talking about feelings, emotions, experience. What have you experienced over time? Trish, do you have anything you want to say? If you do, just step up.
I'll say that for me, time is time. I feel like time is gonna fly past me, so I do everything immediately. I do everything fast because I think if I waste time, then I won't get anything done, and if time passes, I won't get that chance again. So that's my mentality towards time. Even when it's time for me to go to school, it takes me 15 minutes to walk there. So I usually rush myself to get there an hour early. So I'm certain and I'm sure that I won't be late. And my teacher, he laughed at me when I told him that. He said, you're always here an hour before class. And I said, I'm afraid to be late. I have anxiety of being late. He said, well, that's a good thing. But he said, you shouldn't stress yourself out in being late because you're always here an hour early. It's a 15-minute walk. And I couldn't understand what he was saying because in my head, I was telling myself, well, I'm here an hour early, so that gives me time to rest after the walk because the walk is very intense. So I give my time to sit and rest and recollect myself after the walk, and then I'll be ready and recharged to go to class. So for me, time, I try to make sure I do things punctual and I try to use time wisely. And if I don't, I think it's chaos. So that's how I feel on time.
Love that. Thank you for that share. Myself, I used to be very conscious of time. Never wanted to be late for anything and was always on time for most everything. Now that time has passed, I'm getting a little older. Things have slowed down. Life is not about raising kids anymore because my kids are grown. I got a little note the other day as a reminder from my sister. And she said to me, and I love this note, you used to never be late. We're always an hour before, like Trish mentioned, hour before. Now you're late. What's going on? I didn't take that as judgmental. But when people bring something to your attention, how do you feel about it? If people were to tell you that you're wasting time, would you be offended by that? Well, of course you would if it weren't true. But you see, something that she said to me was very, very true. What I saw beyond those words were I was conscious of my time. And I started to ask myself, do I care about time? Because, we could spend a lot of time over here, but less time over there. You fill in those blanks. Where is your more time spent and less time challenged? Time is virtual. We look back in time and think about all that time. See, our memory is filled like a time capsule. How so? Because how many times have you heard the word, do you remember that time? And you start to remember what that time was. How many of you have done that in conversation?
I have.
Your brain associates with time. What was that like for you, Trish?
It was actually a fun memory. It was yesterday. Me and my siblings were talking about how during Halloween my mom would make decorations. So my sister was like, "You remember that time, Mom? She made little ghosts and she put it on the string and she put it on the wall, all around the walls." And I was like, "Yeah." And I was putting my pieces of the story together with her. She was like, "Yeah, I remember that." So it's crazy how we remember the pieces of the story together when someone automatically says, "Oh, do you remember that time?" It's
Mm-hmm.
like we weren't thinking of that, but the memory is like it happened like a moment ago.
So the memory comes from what is stored in our minds. So it affects our mental and emotional health. Take the time to think. Isn't it a good topic today? We think about Thursday and our being able to mindset ourselves of the need to take time. It used to be where, and sometimes we really have to have some forethought into how we want to spend our time and not be doers of the same thing every day in time. Because if you did the same thing every day the same way every time, you would look back in time and wish that you had done something differently? How many of you over time have wished you would have done something differently this time? Anybody?
I have.
Yeah. What do we call that when we wish we had done something different this time? Regret. So today, I want you to think about the regrets that you had over time, that you wish you would have done something differently. Like when my kids were younger, I wished I would have done more listening than I did talking. Why do I have regret? Because time has flown by. And no doubt, as parents, we do what we can. There's no perfect parent. And I regret that because what I know this time, oh boy, if I had known it, life would have been so different. Well, we share many good memories. The last time we were here, I had the opportunity just last night to visit with my oldest. He had made an arrangement to come and see us, my son, his nephew, my grandson, and myself. And looking at him as a full-grown man in his 30s, my, I wished he was so little again. Though that, I'm proud of them both growing up to be amazing young men. So I don't regret in a bad way. And I want you guys to realize when I say the word regret, it doesn't mean being sorry for something, but you may have rethought something over time. We're moving on to the dads because I would be remiss not to think about the dads. Dads, if you are honing in and listening, when you do, I want to hear from you because you are just as important as the mother. And every time I see a dad, just he with his child, I always commend and compliment them. Because I see that they are putting forth the effort that moms usually do. And I don't want to take it for granted that every family has a mom. Although we know that there had to be a mom and a dad equally. But now I want to give commendation to the dads in time because dads have been labeled as the breadwinner, the guy that has strength, the guy that doesn't take the time, but he's the man of the house. You see, there is strength in the time that they spend with their offspring, their children, their babies, their even young adult. You see, that's strength. For all you dads that think no one is paying attention, for all you dads that are stepping up in court trying to get visitation rights to your child. Seems like it takes a long time. But don't you worry, because the time that you are spending fighting for your child, that takes strength and courage. Don't give up. Sometimes when I'm out on a Saturday morning or a weekend morning, Sunday too, I see dads. And that, to me, brings joy. Because we see always the mother. And I want you, people that are out there, if you are thinking about how important mom is, include dad in. Because you see, it takes a man, a real man, to be able to raise a son or a daughter. Because you see, that man, when he raises his son or his daughter, she or he will mimic that father. So dads, I'm going to put a notation, and hopefully you will think about this. When you feel like you are unimportant in your child's life, I want you to start thinking how your time values them. Your time is of the essence, and every little time is not the quantity, but the quality of the time. Because fathers are the ones that are known to be the man of the house, if he is present, they might feel like too little time is not enough time. And I want to illustrate it like this. We've talked about watering plants, and hopefully you guys have started a plant that reminds you to bring nourishment to yourself. That's why we started that project. For those of you who are listening for the first time, I did start my watering plant to remind myself of nourishing me each day. We began to water that plant every other day. And it was one little tiny sprout. And I thought to myself, this plant is taking so long to water. And it only takes me a few seconds to water. My grandson and I have that project that we do. It's his project. I let him water because I want him to understand growth. And we see it best, the plant life, through life. The illustration of the plant means that over time, if that plant has not had enough nourishment, it doesn't grow. It remains the same or reverts. But in order for it to move forward, we must water the plant. Fathers, if you come in and it's really late night and your kids are already in bed, or you haven't spoken to your kids throughout the day because you've been so busy, there's always nighttime. If you're coming home every night, here's something that I want you to remember. Kiss your kids at night. If you work graveyard shift and you come in the morning and they're still sleeping, kiss your kids good morning. Going back to the plan and how this works and how this regulates us as humans. When we do that, nourish and feed, that helps your child to thrive. You may not think so. I don't know if I've ever said this, and we're going to go to commercial break. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories.
Thank you for joining us on Think About Thursday. We're talking about taking time, talking to the fathers, because you mothers and you fathers each have your place. Let's be mindful of that. And you fathers, if you're coming in and it's late and your children are still sleeping, that kiss good morning or good night stimulates the brain. Your child doesn't have to be awake for you to have done that. I'll tell you a little story. It's a real life story. It's my story. My youngest son had went to visit one of his friends while they were teenagers still. And he said to me, Mom, I noticed that my friend's mother didn't say goodnight to him like you do, Mom. You always say goodnight to us or kiss us or hug us before we go to bed and even in the morning. That made me proud because you see, it takes a few minutes to do that. It goes a long way just like that. I saw a cute Oreo commercial some time ago, and it comes out about the holidays. I don't know if you guys have seen this commercial, but the dad is working and the child is able to video his dad, or the dad videos him, doesn't tell us what, but they're on video, and the dad is holding up an Oreo, and the child has an Oreo. That commercial has affected my emotion, because see, that's how important time should be. Are we taking the time to nurture our children? If you fathers are not in the home, let's not discredit you because we don't know the reason. What's important today is to take the time to get to know your child. Sometimes I have heard fathers say, she won't let me. Throw that out of your vocabulary and take that time. It will go a long way with your children. And we're not talking as if life is perfect for everyone, because we do know out of the thousands that we have talked to within the last 2.5 years, life is far from perfect. Make the time. See, it's easy for me to say, take the time, but then once you're taking the time, you're conscious of saying, in order to take the time, I must commit to making some time. You we're going to approach conversation, but we approach it differently. We're not going to attack it. See, when we use a moment in time, it can affect you in such a way that you have never forgotten. How many moments in your life have you done something good toward someone? And once you have received it, their goodness, it makes you start seeing the good that someone does. Because you see, life is not always about, I see you, but you don't see me. Or you see me and I don't see you. It's a two-way situation. Let that be your cross street, doing good while being done good. Or opposite. Take that time, that moment to see the good. Because sometimes we want to judge people. We've talked about this. How would we like it if someone took the time and told us how bad we are, how unworthy we are? See, we don't like it when people have taken moments to do that. See the good in yourself and spread it to others. What is a moment that you remember that you saw something good in yourself? Trish?
A moment I remember is actually this Monday when I was in a group call with my classmates and we were all stressing about this project that we have to do. And I said, "It's okay, guys, we can do it." So I saw the good in me motivating other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Helping others. I think that's really good because what it does when you do good to others, there doesn't have to be a special day that you're going to choose to help others, but extending your hand. I had a man recently, and I know you guys are going to say, well, yeah, that was a man, and he was trying to hit on you, Miss Nisi. That wasn't the case at all. I was the next person in line. He said, is that your stuff? I'm going to let you go ahead. And he proceeded to say, the cashier said, he wants to pay for your things. He's paid for your things. So you're doing good. Not because you're going to get something back, but taking that time. It's going to make you feel good and others feel good that you've done that. Remember that time. When's the last time? I love this one because I can really say I've been working on this one as well. That you smiled at someone and they smiled back at you. Anytime, Trish?
Yes, it was 2 weeks ago. I'll never forget it. I don't know. No, I don't know. I saw that the woman's face when I walked into the school, she didn't look very happy. So I smiled at her and I was like, "Hi, I love your dress." And she was like, "Thank you." She said, "Thank you very much." Like she lit up. So that was the last time.
Think of the impact of taking the time to do that. Last time I smiled, it was an elderly woman just the other day. As she walked past me, she looked at me eye to eye and smiled so brightly at me, and it felt good to be doing the same thing. People walk around with detailed faces, right? Everybody has a detail on their face. Some people walk around grumpy, and you say that's grumpy. Some people have face of anger. You say that's anger. Some people walk around as if they have a chip on their shoulder. You say they've got a chip on their shoulder. Some people walk around in their own universe. You saw that look, right? And you say, yeah, I can identify with that. I see that. Yeah, that's funny. But do we ever take the time to think about why that must be the case? Taking the time. Because you look at people, I'm an early riser, and I like to get up early, even though it's getting difficult as I get older. And I'm looking at the people, you wonder why Starbucks is always so crowded, because people say they need their coffee, so they make the time to go to Starbucks, no matter how long that line is. They will be late to their jobs because they need Starbucks. You ever seen them? They are just as happy with that Starbucks cup, because people have conditioned their mind to believe that the coffee is going to make them a different person. We're not here to change your belief. But we are here to tell you something that might have impact, to help you to think about today's thought, whatever that grumpy is, whatever that anger is, whatever it is that has got you in your face with the impression that you have on it. Other people see it. And it could be, because I've said this, what could be so bad when you just got out of bed? And you won't know what I'm talking about when you see people like that. But then I had to stop myself as I learned so much about this life coaching business and this wellness business. Get down into the heart of the people. Put yourself in their place. Maybe this has happened, or maybe that's happened. But because you don't know them, you have passed judgment on them. Because that's what I was doing. Yeah, I see them. They're so angry. What are they so angry about? And it stirs us from people, because how many of you like angry people? Good morning and welcome. How many of you like people that look like they're scouring at the face? They're looking like the people that resemble Hunchback of Notre Dame, but only in the face. You've seen people like that. Those are the people. Yeah. And what did you think about them? In their face, because you know what that looks like, right?
Yeah, I usually think they must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
Don't we say that? And for those of you who are listening to us, let's give ourselves permission to admit that. Why are we taking the time to talk about that? Because, see, if we all did the reversal thing and said, good morning, like Trish said to the lady, and like I said to the lady, and like the men did with me, to make their moment better. Have you ever tried to smile at a person and as you smiled at the person, they didn't smile back? How many of you have experienced that? I was on the other side. I was on the other side of the spectrum, being the person that was smiled at, and I didn't smile back. That made me feel terrible because maybe that person wanted to make someone's day, but I didn't allow that. Sometimes we can do that to people by not allowing them the space to create for themselves moments of happiness. Good morning and welcome into Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. We're talking about taking the time. And our Vibe Talk question is, what would you like to take more time to do? Tell us where you're listening from, please, and thank you. But now, we're not suggesting, good morning, we are not suggesting that you get to know everybody from Texas. Thank you so much. Thank you. What would you like to take more time to do as we think about Thursday? And thank you for joining our program. So we want to, the next time, and there will be a next time, that we see somebody who fit those criteria that we talked about. Thank you so much. We are live on our Facebook page. If you are not following our Facebook page in order to see the next time we're going to be on, please like and follow our page. It helps our page to grow, and we want to grow just like flowers. Everybody likes flowers, right? Okay. Thank you so much from Texas. Good morning, Terry. Good morning. Our live audience member says, I want to take more time to heal myself. I love that. Being committed to yourself is one of the first steps. Saying it, but feeling. You're so very welcome. Thank you for that smiling face. And that's what we're talking about. How we feel when others smile at us. Take the time to smile. We don't have to look like the hunchback of Notre Dame in our face. We don't have to be angry in our face. You know, I have dimples, and I remember someone saying to me when I was a teenager, I never knew you had dimples. Do you know why they never knew it? Why do you think that was? You guessed it, because I never smiled. It was my world and my world only until I was awakened to awareness that other people live on earth too. And my life was not so bad because I got to hear other people's experience, and mine looked like a fairy tale in comparison to someone else's. So I had much to be joyful about. I love that. Thank you for that. Our audience member says, what's the most unique thing about the audience that they love about themselves? They said they love their red hair. Love that. We want to hear from you guys. I love red hair too, but I don't have red hair. But I love that look. So, take that time. Now, what is the littlest thing that you will remember? Littlest thing that you remember?
My name.
What'd you say?
I said my name.
That's what you remember? The littlest thing is your name.
Yes, that's the littlest thing I remember. But
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, but to be a little more, I say, in depth, I would say the littlest thing I remember is making myself some coffee this morning.
Okay. See, those are the things that you take time to remember, because the littlest thing that I remember is when the hummingbird flew right next to me, as if to say, here I am. It's not so bad what you're going through. I've never in all my years saw that happen. What we're doing when we are asking you to think about Thursday, we're asking you to give thought. Take time to give thought. Our Texas audience member says we should be grateful of little things because one day we might not have that anymore. That is exactly the case in point. Thank you so much. We love it when you guys join in our conversation. Stay with us. We must go to a commercial. We will be right back. Did you know that Instagram has Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast after dark? More intimate and more cozy. Join us after dark, anywhere that you are on Instagram. We'll see you there. Our audience member says, this is so amazing. I always wanted to be a podcaster. Well, you can do it. Don't give up on that. It can happen. Todd, good morning and welcome to our show, Live Talk Facing the Lion. We are live on our very own Facebook page as well. Please, if you're here today and you like us enough, go click on Facebook. We are growing. We're so thankful to all of you. Todd, what are you thankful for, and what would you like to spend more time doing? You can still be anything you want. Just keep being out there. We all have gifts and talents from our audience member. Okay. Todd says, I'd like to spend more time watching anime. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thankful for my child and made me feel like I was home. Okay. Thank you guys. Keep the conversation coming. So now, the little hummingbird that was so clearly, I could reach out my hand and touch him. I've never been that close to a hummingbird. It reminded me to be grateful for life. For life. Where did you see wonderful in your world? You know, some people can look out of their backyard and see wonderful. I'm a friend of mine, and she lives where it snows, and she sends me beautiful pictures. That's wonderful. Where do you guys see wonderful in your world? I have seen some of the most amazing places. The beach is a wonderful thing to me. Oh, thank you so much. Audience member says, when I had a second chance at life after my car crash in 2017. Wow. Did it make you appreciate life much more? Fenton, good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining our show at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Where are you from, Fenton? What state? We have South Carolina. Our podcast is based out of West Coast, Southern California. New Mexico. Thank you for joining us. And our audience member says, yes, it did it about that accident in 2017. It felt like my guardian angel was keeping me safe. I'm so glad that you are here with us today. Life is fragile. If you don't have wonderful in your life, create wonderful. Because a lot of people want to talk about what they don't have. But I want you to make a list of the wonderful thing that you do have. And that's why we started with growing the plant. Take any plant, seeds, grow them, and see how wonderful life is. We'll read our audience members' comments. I was not supposed to survive that accident, but it was a miracle. And she says, I appreciate life every day. I love that. You see what you get out of this kind of wellness program? We're here. We now have over 100 podcasts. Trish, we'd like to take the honors to thank you for managing our YouTube page. We have YouTube, guys. Yeah, we do. Show your support if you can by subscribing, even if you just check it out. Because every time we're on, you're going to be on. Every time you touch your notification buttons to wake up your alarm, you're going to see what we're doing new. And Trish, thanks to you, we have over 100. I think it's 103 last time I checked. We are growing. If you don't have wonderful or wonder in your life, I want you all to think about growing your very own plant. You will experience wonder and amazement. How about, we talked about being thankful. What was the last thing you were thankful for? I think our audience member covered that. We talked about, how about inspiring? When was the last time you all felt inspired? Trish, we'll start with you.
I felt inspired by my little brother because he's going to the military. He passed his ASVAB. So
Okay. So that inspires you. And how does that inspire you?
that inspires me to continue to do my best, even when I think I can't do it, because he thought he couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that inspires me to keep going and push forward and motivate myself.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories.
Vibe Talk has group and individual sessions. If you think you'd like to have a customized session for you or a group, notify us on our Facebook page or simply send us a text, voicemail, or call us 661-503-8993. Direct Connect Vibe Talk. Thank you for joining our program on Taking the Time. We're talking about inspiring people. I feel inspired when I see people who try hard. That inspires me to put to use the things that I know and be determined to do them. I'm always inspired. I'm inspired right now just being with you all. I'm inspired when I hear that other people are inspired by Vibe Talk. Thank you. Life is precious. Time is precious. You're precious. No, really. Come a little closer. I'm talking to you. You are precious. No matter what has happened in your time here, as you've lived, you are precious. Our audience member says, I feel inspired when I made people better than they were before, even after they had a bad life. They became someone that they always wanted to be in this life. So you help people to feel good about themselves. Is that what you do? That's great. The best thing that you could ever do. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. We're going to be right back, and take the time to stay with us. We'll be right back. Did you know? Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion podcast can be found through your Alexa, Siri, and Google. Go ask them for the latest podcast. That is Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion podcast. Go on. We're here, and we'd like to say thank you for being with us. Time is of the essence, and it is your choice and your chance to do with time what you will do. But as you look back in time, no, never look back with regret of how you spent that time. Let time be of the essence for you now and forevermore. We are going to turn it over for Trish's Treasures. Go ahead, Trish.
So for my public speaking class, I had a project, and I'm very proud of myself to say that I passed it, even though I spent time. Thank you. Even though I spent a lot of time worrying about it and constantly praying about it, but as the good book says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul. So I had to do that, and I got an email from my teacher, and he said, your grade is an 86. Not bad, Treasure, not bad at all. So
Nice.
I'm excited about it because I took a lot about
a
it because
sign of strength.
I took a lot of time with it. Um, for my music, for that particular piece, it took me 7 hours to do, from 6 o'clock in the morning all the way to, I think, 1 o'clock. It took me all the way to do that. And I was driven by motivation, and I didn't know I was going to use that for my project. But when I did, I thought of the time, and I had to finish it in a time, the project in a time. And I made it, even though the time was mostly spent in worry and in fear and anxiety. I had to pause and just do it. We spend a lot of time worrying and anxiousness, when even though in the midst of that worry we can still walk into the challenge and carry it out and finish it and wait for the best results. Because when you put effort into something, you have amazing results, especially when people know that you've tried your best, and when you know first that you tried your best and you dedicated your time and your effort into something. So take your time, use your time wisely. It is your time. It's not someone else's time. You know what you need to do with it. So you can do it. There is always time.
You like that sound? That sound is representation of what we're all about. Thank you for Trisha's Treasures. You can find Trisha's Treasures by hashtagging that, if you will, Trish. You can put that in our information comments below. We want you guys to know that Vibe Talk just doesn't stop here. Now that you've taken the time to be with us, or taken the time to not just click a button, but to really tune in, what are you going to do? Which brings up our last and final question about today's podcast. What did you learn in today's podcast and discover about yourself? And how did it make you feel? Good morning and welcome to our program. By the way, if you have missed any of our program, it is fully recorded on your latest streams on our YouTube page, our channel, and even right here. So we are recording this. Good morning. Where are you listening in from as you've joined our podcast? Please feel free to let us know. I'll start with me on what I learned and discovered. I've learned and discovered that time is a beautiful thing. Time slips by, and time you can never get back. The time that you were wishing, the time that flies by just like a ripple. Once it's done, it's done. And who's to say that we would have more time? So take time, because time represents every opportunity that you will take from here on until time is up. That's what I've discovered. And I feel empowered by today's Take Time on Think About Thursday. Trish, I turn it to you. What did you learn and discover in today's podcast?
I learned that the little things that I do to relax during my time to relax, it's not to be ignored and not to be set aside because I need that. So I need to spend more time to basically recharge and get ready mentally for my day instead of just getting up and going. My mindset has to be strong in order to take what challenges my day throws at me.
Mm-hmm.
And my experience here today, I was very inspired. I'm very inspired to use my time wisely and cherish the time I have with the people that I love and the time I spend with myself and my relaxation.
So we ask that you think about this on this Think About Thursday. And if you have any questions or comments as you listen, we love to hear from you. We challenge ourselves each day to think more. And I challenge you to think more about taking time. Until next time, you have been with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are on your favorite platforms. You can even type us in your engine searches. Find us. Let us know what you're thinking, how you feel, and if you have questions. And if you want a one-on-one or be in our group, let us know. We're still developing group sessions. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, New Mexico. Thank you, South Carolina. Thank you, Texas. And thank you, West Coast, California, Antelope Valley, Palmdale, California. Until next time, I challenge you to think about it. Have a good day, everyone.